Hello, my name is Patrick. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for always liking, sharing, and subscribing. In today's video, I'm going to talk about signs of depression you should never ignore. We all know someone or have heard about someone who died of depression. In my own case, I saw a lady who took her own life when I was growing up in Africa because she was depressed. She was a single mom. She had no help, and men were walking in and out of her life. They would get her pregnant without any support. Eventually, she got tired and she took her own life. This particular incident made me much more interested in paying attention to the silent struggles that people go through. Many times in our society, we are reactionary. When people die, we begin to wonder what may have happened. But the truth is, sometimes there are clues. And if we pay a close attention, those deaths probably would have been averted. In this video, I'm going to make you aware of those signs that you need to keep your eyes on. First, let's define depression. According to DSM-5, depression is characterized by persistent sadness, hopelessness, depressed mood, low self-esteem, and less interest in things that we normally enjoy. That is called anhedonia. It is important to note that these symptoms must occur for at least 2 weeks or more. And when you see these symptoms and signs, you need to be worried that the person may be thinking of hurting themselves or hurting other people. So the question is, what causes depression? It could be biological, such as reduced level of serotonin or dopamine. These are neurotransmitters that help with communication in the brain. Depression could also be due to abnormal brain structures. It could be genetic, especially in first-degree relatives. It could also be psychosocial, such as life events and stress. Sometimes, this is what bothers me, sometimes people with mental illness are portrayed as being weak. So hopefully, this definition should show you that this is biological. Now that you know the definition, you know the causes. The next question is, who is affected by depression? The answer is everyone. Everyone. Do you know that you and I have about 13 to 20% lifetime chance of being depressed? Also, women are 2 times more likely to be depressed when compared to men. However, depression affects all ages, all races, all ethnicities, including the poor and the rich. Now that you know who is affected, what then are the risk factors? Number 1 is gender. Being a female is a risk factor. A risk factor is something that increases your chances of being affected. Number 2 is prior episode of depression. In medicine, if it has happened before, it is more likely to happen again. Number 3, family history of depression. Does it run in the family? If it does, it increases your likelihood of getting it. Number 4, other medical illnesses can trigger major depression. For example, cancer. Another big risk factor, number 5, is divorce or separation from a loved one, or even the death of a loved one. That's why some people, after losing a loved one, they hardly recover. Number 6, substance abuse. Yes, you heard me. Substance abuse can trigger depression. Now that you know the risk factors, let's go over the signs and symptoms of depression. You should never ignore the signs. Number 1, depressed mood. And I am not talking about having a bad day at the office. I am not talking about being depressed every once in a while. We all go through that. What I am talking about is persistent depressed mood. Number 2 is anhedonia. ANHEDONIA. That is inability to feel pleasure. That is lacking interest in things that used to excite you. You don't want to do them no more. That is number 2, anhedonia. Number 3 is feeling of hopelessness. Remember, there is no life without hope. Number 4 is always feeling guilty and blaming themselves. This is a big one. We all make mistakes. Things will always go wrong. But if you are constantly blaming yourself, that is a risk factor. Number 5, you may see a loss of appetite and loss of weight. Number 6, sleeplessness. Number 7, suicidal ideation. That is wanting to take your own life. Number 8 is feeling of sadness. Now, if you see these symptoms that I just described, you need to act very fast. Also, 2 very important red flags are sense of guilt and suicidal ideation. Please, please, and please do not ignore these 2 signs. And if you pay a close attention, you may start hearing things like, everything is my fault. The world will be a better place if I am not here. You will start hearing things like, my parents will still be alive if not for my sake. I am better off dying anyways. If you really pay close attention, there are subtle clues. I'm telling you. So comments like this, plus the other signs, should make you do something. You can call the hotline for depression. I believe the number is publicly available. You can get the help of a psychotherapist or a physician. Now, one thing you really want to keep in mind People who are depressed can look totally fine. Oh, yes, they can. In fact, you may actually see a surge of happiness after they have made an arrangement to end their lives, because they now feel a sense of relief. And that is why people sometimes say, oh, he or she looked normal to me. Yes, absolutely yes. They might not always appear to be depressed. That is the more reason you have to pay a close attention, because it could be an abuse. It could be a trauma that they are hiding and don't want to be judged. And that is why you always have to try and offer a therapeutic outlet to let people talk about what they are going through. Let people talk about the things that they have been incubating for a very long time. Finally, if you or someone you know, if you or someone you know is suffering from depression, I encourage you to seek treatment, because your life is precious. And together we can fight against depression. Do not worry about the stigma of being called weak, but worry about being alive first. Because even the person whom you think will stigmatize you has a medical problem to worry about. Yes, they do. The good news is there is a treatment option which involves a combination of medication and cognitive behavioral therapy. So please, please, and please do not die in silence. And if you have learned something from this video, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and stay healthy.